Welcome, fellas, to the Captain Saver Bro Show, episode 55. You could have been a little bit nicer to me today. I know you're wondering what I mean by that. We're going to get into that. It was a trend going on TikTok, on social media, and I saw it, and it made me sad. It triggered me, and it disgusted me, and so we're going to talk about it. But first, guys, before we get into the game, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you can get this good player-ish fresh off the press. Also, guys, if you want to watch on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and type in King Dre or the Captain Saver Bro Show. I'll come right up. If you're watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you want to catch me on YouTube, go to YouTube, type in King Dre or Captain Saver Bro Show. I'll come right up. Guys, this episode is brought to you by LoveRespectHonor.com, www.loverespecthonor.com. And when you go to www.loverespecthonor.com, there's a form you can fill out where you can attend my free class, The 3 Secrets to Get a Woman to Love, Respect, and Honor You. It's free, absolutely free. Sign up and attend. And when you attend, the game you get, if you apply it, I can guarantee you, you're going to change your situation. You can turn your situation around almost immediately. So don't sleep on that. It's free game. Take the free game when you have an opportunity. When you have an opportunity to get you some free game, always make sure you take the opportunity. Do not sleep. Get this free game. 3 Secrets to Make a Woman Love, Respect, and Honor You. Also, guys, my Captain Saver Bro t-shirts. I should have been wearing one tonight, but guys always ask me, when you doing the Captain Saver Bro t-shirts? When can I buy one? When can I buy one? When can I buy one? When you gonna sell them? Sell me one. So I finally cracked, and I created a page so you guys can, I created a store so you guys can go and pre-order the t-shirt. So if you want a Captain Saver Bro Show t-shirt, you want to support the movement, you want to support me, or you want a fly shirt, with Captain Saver Bro, then go to kingdre.shop and pre-order. So if you see in this episode, if you watch it first day, you see in this episode, today is the last day you can pre-order it. Friday, October 13th is the last day that you can pre-order the shirt. So I'm only doing pre-orders. It's not going to be a store to where I have, just up and running, because I don't have the time nor energy to run a clothing business. I don't have a desire to run a clothing business. It's not my dream. I don't have I just don't want to run a clothing business. My business, I'm not in the fashion business. I'm not in the clothing business. But you guys have been asking me for over a year and a half, and so I want to do this for you guys. So you can pre-order now, and you'll have your shit within a week and a half, maybe within 2 weeks. So pre-order now. Friday is the last day. If you're watching this, take advantage. kingdre.shop. Support me. If you want to, if you get the shirt and you send me a picture with the shirt on, I'll tag you on the page, shout you out for showing me some love, show you how much I appreciate it. So, I appreciate everybody who support me and support the work. So go to kingdre.shop to pre-order the t-shirts, the Captain Saver Bro Show t-shirts. Anyway, guys, I don't want to hold you up with too many advertisements or whatever you want to call this, but we're going to get straight into this game. Also, guys, real quick, I do want to apologize about not doing last week's podcast. I know we were supposed to do a podcast last week, but I was in New York City for the first time. I've been a lot of places, all over the country, but for some reason I've never been to New York, and New York has been on my bucket list forever, and I finally went. And I'll just say this, maybe I'll do a podcast on it, I don't know, there ain't no really reason to do a whole podcast on it. And I talked about it on my live stream show that I do on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and Twitch. I talked about it more in depth, but I understand now why women in New York City are so masculine. As a Florida guy, New York was a whole different speed. I really enjoyed it, though. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Lucario. I was up there chopping up game with him. Went up there to chop up game with him because I'm going to be in the Game Kings 2 documentary. So your boy's going to be in a documentary Lucario needed that real game. Not that the other guys don't have real game, because I love everybody on there. Steve Dean, Afi, 1950, Miles, and the other guys. So I'm not saying that they don't have real game, but Mr. Lucario needed that Florida shit. So, players respect players, game recognize game. So, he called me up, and I spit that fire. So be on the lookout for the Game Kings 2 documentary. And shout out to my guy, Mr. Lucario, and also shout out to Miles Cunningham. That's his partner. So Miles is my guy too. But anyway, guys, let's get straight into the game. Now, I was on TikTok and I came across this trend. Actually, somebody sent this shit to me. My lady sent this shit to me, and she was like, "Oh, check this out, check this out." She was like, "Oh, I think it's adorable." Like she didn't see it from the angle that I saw it. She was like, "Oh, I think this is pretty funny and it's pretty adorable," right? So I'm watching it. I'm watching the shit, and it was a trend called "I think you could have been a little nicer to me today." And on this trend, couples go to their spouse or their partner, or their girlfriend or husband or wife or boyfriend or whatever, and they say, "I think you could have been a little bit more nicer to me." And they record the reactions of it. And when she was like, "Oh, I think it's adorable," but when I was watching it, I was like, "I ain't feeling this. I don't really like this shit," right? And the reason why is because when you watch it, just go on TikTok, and I don't know if it made its way to Instagram, but just go on TikTok and type in, "You could have been a little nicer to me today," and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you're gonna be lazy or whatever, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it here so you can see it. But I noticed something like right away. All of the men, when the woman went to the man, like all of the men had the position of, at first, most of them was like, "Well, what did I do wrong?" Like, trying to see what they did wrong and how can they fix the shit. Or some guys didn't even do that. They was just like, "You know what, you're right. I apologize." Or, "Damn, are you for real?" And like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, well," some of the guys was like, "Well, I'll make it up to you. Let's go shopping," or some shit like that. But just the position of the men was almost like, wanted to solve the problem. Like, "I don't want you to feel like that. If I made you feel like that, I'm sorry." Every guy did that. Like every single that I've seen, and I saw tens, not hundreds of them, but I saw a lot of them. Like I was just scrolling, and I wanted to make sure before I come out and definitively say that the men reacted this way and the women reacted this way. So, but yeah, all of the men that I've seen watching that trend reacted in that way, like helpful, wanting to know what's going on. Now, some of them were a little surprised, like, "Damn, what did I do?" But it wasn't like a combative, like, "You tripping, I don't know what you're talking about." But it was like, "What did I do? I thought I was, and if I wasn't, then my bad," or, "Let me make it up to you," or some shit like that. Basically, what I saw is that men care. Like the men were caring. Every single fucking woman on this trend took up a combative, defensive tone immediately. Every single one that I've seen. I didn't see anywhere the woman was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, babe." Da, 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 da. And I wish I would have saw this shit before she did, and I would have sent it to her ass and test her. And I think I'm gonna put out a challenge on Instagram tomorrow. Text your girl or record your girl, text your girl and see what she say. Maybe we could say some shit like, "I think you could have been nicer to me, over the last few days," and just text her and see what they say. But yeah, all of the women reacted as if, they didn't care. Like, "Well, how could you say that? I did this. Like, literally, they got mad. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, "Damn, bro, that shit is sad." Like, and I'm watching the shit, I was about to fucking cry. Like, I'm literally about to cry for the men. Like, God damn, dog, it's this bad. Like the world has gotten this bad to where a man can't say, "Hey, I think you could have been a little bit more nicer to me," without a woman getting in a straight argumentative mode, You know what I'm saying? Like straight, just jump straight on bullshit. Well, I've been doing this, and if I woke up with the baby last night, and what about this? Even one of the guys, he had shaved his face. He had shaved his beard off like earlier on in the day. He had shaved his beard off, and he's in his wife in the bed in the house with his wife the whole day. And so he goes up to her and he say, "I think you could have been a lot nicer to me." And as her head is buried in her phone, she starts complaining about, "Oh, how you're ignoring me, and what else? You always ignore me. I don't know how long I can go on with you ignoring me." And then she finally looks up and realizes, "Damn, when did you shave your face?" So I'm like, who the fuck is being ignored? Like, the man shaved his face hours ago, walking around the same house as you, and you didn't even notice it until he brought up what you thought was an attack on you. But every single woman took up a defensive, argumentative tone. All right, fellas. So I'm gonna play. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a few of these videos. I'm gonna play a few of the women, of the guys asking their women. Then I'm gonna play a few videos of the men of the guys asking their women, and I'm gonna play a few videos of the women asking their men. And look at the difference. Just pay attention to this. This is pretty sad.
I feel like you could have been nicer to me.
Oh my gosh, well I feel like you could have done...
I just feel like you could have been nicer to me.
Oh my gosh, well I feel like you could have done 80 more things today than you did. I feel like I woke up and I cleaned our room, I did our bed, I cleaned the sheets, I did the laundry, I put your clothes away, I come in the kitchen, nothing's done. So I do everything, then I make you breakfast, then I get the baby ready, then I get myself ready. And what do, Michael? You just tell me I could have been nicer. That seems pretty nice to me. And you thought I was pretty nice last night. Super nice. Woo!
Damn.
That wouldn't have been funny to me. Let me play another one.
I think you could have been a little nicer today.
You think I could have been a little nicer today?
Yeah.
I feel like you could have done a little more today. Because when I woke up, the first thing I did is get my kids ready for school at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then I take them to school. And then I head to Walmart to get Tucker's medicine. And then boom, his medicine I can't get because his insurance isn't active. So then I end up on the phone with the insurance company for an hour and a half trying to deal with that. And then I get home and realize there is piss all over the toilet seat. So I have to get on my hands and knees to clean the piss off the toilet. And then I didn't get to finish cleaning up dinner last night because my other kid had a meltdown. So please explain to me how I could have been nicer. I don't understand.
Babe.
No.
I'm kidding. It's just a prank. I love you so much. It's just a prank. I'm so sorry.
Cry me a river. Let me play some more. Hold on. I'm going to play a couple more.
Babe. 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 I feel like you really, honestly, I feel like you could have been a little nicer to me today. Just a little bit.
Excuse me, come again?
I feel like you could have been, you've been a little rude this morning.
I've been rude. You know, maybe I would have been a little bit nicer if you freaking woke up at 3 in the morning when she was screaming. You know what you were doing? You were slobbering and you were snoring. Maybe it would have been a little nicer if you did that. Or maybe it would have been a little nicer if you freaking changed that blowout. You smelled it, right? You told me. You think I should have been nicer?
I thought you're the one you said that you had it, though. I asked you, I said, do you want me to change it?
It's the fact that you didn't offer for me. Okay? That maybe I could have been a little nicer then, if you did that.
Dad, I was thinking you could have been nicer to me today.
Me?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't feel like you were very nice. I just thought you could be nicer to me today.
Watch this shit. Check this shit out.
Ignored so much. Like, I never told you something like, I nearly put down and respond to you. You literally sat there and ignored me for so long. I sit there and I try to have a conversation with you. My phone is in my purse in my room. I try and I try. You shaved your face.
You just now noticed I shaved my face. Are you kidding me? You just now noticed. Like I said, I think you could be nicer to me. Really?
Did you shave your face?
Yes, I shaved my face.
Yeah, why?
You're just now noticing
Why
I
did you
shaved my
shave your face?
Are you freaking kidding me? Because you're making fun of my beard.
Well, because I
How
just...
did you just notice I shaved my face? Really?
Because you were behind me earlier.
I've been sitting on the couch next to you for like an hour.
Most of these guys have pretty much cut their balls off, man. Like you can tell, their balls are just, they just deal with it now. It's just like whatever. That shit is crazy. And this chick is just like, oh, well, I'm tired of being ignored, and it's like, what the fuck? Like I was the one. I shaved my face earlier. You just not noticing. Your head so far in that motherfucking phone, probably texting the dude you fucking cheating with. Man, this shit crazy. All right, so I'm gonna play some of the guys.
Hey, babe.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have been nicer to me today.
What I do?
I just think you could have been nicer.
Yeah, I guess. I take you to Target, buy you a thing?
Okay, let's go to Target.
Okay.
I feel like you could have been nicer to me today. I feel like you could have been nicer to me today.
What? How was I mean?
Kimara, I was just thinking, and you really could have been nicer to me today.
What you mean? I ain't did nothing.
Yes, you did. When I asked you to go to the store, you was like, oh, I don't really want to go, and I feel like you could have went with me. I feel like you could have been nicer.
You didn't ask me to go to the store with.
Yes, I did. I asked you to go to the store with me earlier, and you was like, I don't really feel like going right now. What? And I just feel like you should have just came with me.
Oh, I ain't hear you. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't do that because you were being really mean, and I just think you could be really nicer.
My dookie butt.
No, don't call me that.
I'm just saying though, I didn't know. I swear I did not hear you. I probably just zoned out in my phone. You know, the Matrix taking over me.
No, ain't no Matrix taking over, but it's okay though. It's okay.
It's not okay. You look sad.
Y'all see how the men handling that shit?
It's okay. I'm not saying.
Listen to how the men are handling it.
No, I'm not saying. Don't do it, Kimara.
Babe. Huh? I feel like you could have been nicer to me today.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
Nothing. I just feel like you could have been nicer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to get you anything? What happened?
No.
You want ice cream?
Sure.
Okay. Well, tell me what happened. Let's go.
Hey, babe.
Hey, beautiful.
I feel like you could have been a little nicer to me today.
You're probably right. I probably could have. I apologize. What do you need?
Hey, I love you.
Now you see the difference? Do you see the difference in that? That's crazy, ain't it? It's crazy. That's some bullshit. I want to know what y'all think. What do y'all think? Let me know what you guys think down in the fucking comments, wherever you seeing this at. Let me know. This bothered me, man. I know this may not be, much to it just may not be much to some people, but this really bothered me. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure the reason that it didn't turn into arguments is because they was on camera. It's like, oh, I'm just playing. But had those guys come with some real issues and a real tone to where it's like, that would have turned left real quick. Because then it's like, you bring your problem and she's like, oh, well, what about this and what about this? And then now you arguing this and it's just like, it just spirals down from there. The only reason none of this was arguments is because those dudes was playing when they said it. So just think about that. That be how them shit start, and it be shit like that lasts it's all night because you trying to get a fucking point across. So yeah, man, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. That fuck with me. That bothered me. The first time I was watching that, it really, really bothered me. And that inspired today's episode. That shit made me sad. It made me really sad, and it was very disheartening to see that men really don't, a lot of men just don't have a space for their, emotions when it comes to, as far as their partners. Like, you can come to a woman and say, oh, I'm sad, my mama did this, my brother did that. But when it's, you made me sad, a lot of men can't communicate with their women about the things that they're doing to hurt them or make them feel bad, because it gets shut down immediately and flipped. And you saw this with every woman. No man that I saw on that trend did that. No man. So it leaves you to think. It leaves you to think. And you know, you hear this. I hear this all the time. Right? I hear it all the time. I hear men complain about it all the time and say, and I'm thinking rightfully so now, but I hear men complain about this all the time. And this is a guy named Zerka, John Zerka. I don't know if he's kind of trolly, but he be saying some shit, right? He be saying some shit. I don't want to call him red pill because I don't know if he identifies that. But he be on Fresh and Fit a lot. He has this like over the top personality, like in your face, just be saying wild shit. But he be saying to the chicks like, men are the real fucking romantics. You women are not fucking romantics. Men are the real romantic. And I've been hearing men say that for years in this space. And I'm starting to realize that that's true. That doesn't make women bad people, but women are not romantic. Women are open to receiving romance, you know, because it validates them. It gives them attention. But women are not romantic. Most women that I've been with have not been romantic. Now, I've been with a few lover girls in my life, who like do romantic things for you on birthdays and, you know, go above and beyond to be romantic with the roses and the flowers, or you know, create this elaborate thing for you, this elaborate romantic thing for you. But most women have not been, that's not to say that they didn't treat me good or wasn't submissive, but just the romance part, most women are not like that. Like most women are not romantic. They're always open to receiving it and being courted and being showered, but they aren't the romancers. Men are, you know, but society leads you to believe that women are the real romance and they are about romance. And nah, they just open to receiving, being treated like a fucking, being put on a pedestal, basically. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that trend was, you know, very, very, very disheartening, man. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and then it started to make me realize that like I was in that position before. And I'm not gonna say that it made me realize, but it triggered me. Like that, watching that triggered me because I was in a situation like that before. And I didn't realize that that was the case until the very end of that situation. Like the very end of the situation when I was like, damn, like I can't even talk to her. Like I can't even talk to her. And what happened was what made me realize that in that situation. And again, watching this trend triggered me, right? It's my last situation, the long situation I was in. Like the longest relationship I was in. This was the last situation. That ended in 2018. 2018, that ended then. But the day we broke up, like officially broke up, like for that last time, we got into it that morning. We had got into it that morning about some shit. And, you know, we was both like the last 6 months, just like not really, it just wasn't it. Like it just wasn't working. We was both on the verge, like, I don't know if this gonna work, We both had that position, but we got into it and she was like, you know what, fuck this. I can't do this shit no more. Right? Cool, gone, boom, she went to work. I'm not like sweating and none of that shit. It is what it is. Like it is gonna be what it's gonna be. And so she came back home from work that day, right? She got back from work and I was sitting on the porch. My cousin had just came over to my house and I was sitting on the porch and she came back and she was like, Andre, let me talk to you. We got to talk. So we was talking and she was like, you know, I want to give this a try. You know, I want to work things out. You know, I don't want it to be like this, blah, 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 blah. And so I said this, and this is real shit. I said this, and she's not a bad person. So I'm not flaming her. This is not me trying to make her a bad person. But I said this, I was like, well, okay, in order for us to do that, I have some things that, you know, I need some straightening on, or I have some things that, you know, I need to get settled. Like there's issues that I have that have to be dealt with, like in order for us to move forward. And she was like, you know what, fuck this shit. I can't do it. I swear to God. And then we have been broke. We was over since then. It was over after that. When I said, hey, listen, I have some issues if we're gonna do this, I have some issues that, and we've calm, it's no argument or nothing. I have some issues that, need, that I need resolved, before we move forward. And that blew up, and she was like, fuck it, right? And then I realized then, like, damn, my whole shit has been like this for the last, I don't know, at that point, 10 years. It had been like that 10 years. And I'm not the guy to, like, deal with that. So with that situation, it was always this thing to where it's like, we'll get into it, and if it get too bad, I'll pack my shit up and leave. And, I was doing my little thing on the side, and I always had chicks. And so it didn't really dawn on me, going, in that relationship. It was just, to me, we would bump heads about some shit. But then I noticed when we had those big old fights, those long drawn out fights, it was always about me having a problem and trying to come to her about it. It was always that. Like, if not to say that that's the only thing that we had issues with, but when it was like long drawn out and it would be all night or a few days, it would be me trying to, like, express myself about something that she was doing or saying or whatever that I didn't like. And I realized that on that day, like, God damn, you see what I'm saying? This has been what it is for years. And I made it from that point. I just can't do that situation no more. And me and her was together, like, on and off for the last 10 years. Like, 2 years be cool, a year and a half would be cool. We get into it, and I'd be like, fuck this shit, I'm out. I go move out or whatever. Now, that's not to say that thing is the reason the relationship was ruined and all that shit, because I was cheating the whole time. I had a baby, outside baby, and all type of shit, right? I had a baby while I was in a relationship with her. I had a kid while I was in a relationship with her. So that's not to say that, oh, she's the reason that the relationship was out. It's not. But I'm just saying that in particular, I know that was one of the major problems for me. And I know it's not her excuse that I sought out other women. It's not her. I'm not using her as an excuse because I'm a man and I'm accountable for the things that I do. But I do know why. I do know why I clung to certain women, because I felt like I wasn't getting what I needed at home. You see, but we had kids together, so it's like you got to do what you got to do for your kids, make it work and all this shit. Now, she wasn't she didn't treat me horrible. Like, she didn't treat me bad. She wasn't disrespectful. She wasn't cheating on me. It was none of that shit. But we just couldn't come to a head on a lot of shit. And I realized that was one of the things. And I realized then, like, I've been bottling shit up. I've been bottling shit up for fucking forever. I can't even, like, express myself to this person in regards to the things that I may feel like she wronged me about, because it always get flipped. Oh, like, right now, this is my kid's mother, right? If I call her right now and I'm like, hey, I don't like the way that you it'll turn into some shit. Like, right now, it'll turn into something. So, I've realized that it's like, whatever with that. And not on some shit like, not even on some shit like, oh, like some relationship intimacy shit. We still got kids together. So sometimes we have to, like, coordinate, because I'm a very active father. Like, I have my kids more than a lot of mamas had their own kids. I'm very active in my children's lives. Very, very. So we have to coordinate with our kids and shit. And we have to communicate and deal with each other and shit like that. And sometimes there'll be misalignments. And I'll be like, yo, man, and that shit turn into something. It'll turn into something. It'll be smoke behind that. So, and I would realize, like, the only time, like, she would be willing to hear me out is if I, like, left. Or, like, if I had another chick or some shit. Then she'd be like, she'll want to, but then it'll still turn into some shit. But I'm saying that to say that triggered, watching that trend triggered that. It's just like, damn, and again, I realized that moment when we broke up, I realized that, damn, that was, I was in a situation like that, to where it was a woman that, and again, she did not treat me bad. She did not cheat on me. She, made sure I was straight, like, that type of shit. But it's just, the average woman don't give a fuck about how a man feels if it doesn't serve them. If it doesn't serve them, if they have to be held accountable for something, they don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? And for me now, like after that, that's like a hard boundary of mine. That's almost that's the same sin as cheating to me. Like if I'm with a woman, me not being able to express a grievance I have with a woman about her, if I'm not able to do that, if I'm not able to express myself to my woman that she may have wronged me or upset or hurt my feelings, if I can't express that like an adult and we can, bring resolve to it without arguing and fighting because she deflecting and shutting down or whatever the case may be, if I can't do that, to me, that is the same sin as cheating. That is the same boundary of mine as cheating. You might as well cheat on me. Like if I run into that, I just can't be in a relationship with nobody like that because I know how that made, I know what that led me to before. You see what I'm saying? You got shit bottled up. That shit make you toxic. And I'm not to say that I was toxic, but you have bottled up emotions. You have bottled up, anger. You just bottled up, and you have to find ways to outlets for this shit. And a lot of the times, man, when you're not careful and you're not educated enough, like I wasn't back then, our outlets be toxic, and it's not constructive, it's not productive, and it's destructive. Smoking, drinking, and all that shit. I talk about that later though. I'm just telling that little piece. But yeah, man, I was in a situation like that. It got to the point to where it's just like I just can't talk to her. And that's not a situation, fellas, that you want to be in. You don't want to be in a situation with no woman that you can't really talk to. And so, everybody have their boundaries, everybody have their rules, things that, but I think that should be a boundary for every man. Like you should have that boundary. And again, that's on the same level with me as like having guy friends. Some guys may not care about that. Some guys may not care about being called out of their name. I care about being called out of my name. But I believe that everybody should have that boundary. I need to be able to come to you and address a grievance that I have with you without it turning into something and you being accountable for it, or you listening to me and you showing me that you truly care about me. You see what I'm saying? But, then that got me to thinking, right? That triggered me. So I started thinking about that. Then that got me to thinking, and let me say this, man, no amount of game. If a woman is like that, I'm not to say that no amount of game can fix that, because you can have a conversation with a woman. It's like, hey man, listen, this is serious. This is serious business. And if she truly fuck with you, then, certain things will change. But if you have a woman who's like damaged to the point of no return, like no amount of game is going to fix that. No amount of game is going to fix a woman giving a fuck about you, because there's just some women. You have the women who have a disdain for men. They have a resentment for men. They look at men as ops. They don't like men, but they need men because they need men's affection. They need sex from men. They need to be taken care of. So they deal with men. They tolerate men, but they don't respect men. If it's a woman like that, no amount of game could fix that. So you have those type of women, and then you have the standard American woman who's been engineered to believe that men really don't fucking matter. It's all about you. We raise women to be like that. Not we, but society engineers women to be like that. And so sometimes a woman may be conditioned, especially the older she is, may be conditioned to, that's just what she's used to because of the last guy dealt with that shit. And so women like that you can have a conversation with, and it'll change. But if you're having a conversation, if you can't even sit a woman down to even have the conversation without it blowing up, this is one of those women. This is the first one. This is the women who's damaged, basically. And not to say that she's damaged like she's just a piece of shit, but something is within her that she see men a certain type of way and she ain't got no respect for men. But, and watching that trend and thinking about that, I started to think like, is this how it's supposed to be? Like, is it supposed to be like this? Or have we been deliberately fucking emotionally castrated? Right? Have we been deliberately castrated emotionally? Have men been castrated emotionally deliberately to where you can't even voice your concerns to your woman about her? Like, you can't even say, hey, babe, I think you could have been a little bit nicer to me today. That didn't feel good the way that you treated me today. without it being a fucking argument? Like, is it supposed to be like that? Or have we fallen that fucking low in society? It's going to be women that hear this and say, take the podcast mics away. Like I'm saying something wrong or harmful. Like, have we gotten that? And I see comments like that all the fucking time and if you look on I don't be saying nothing. You know, I say things that a person may not like hear. They may not like to hear. It may not be favorable to their agenda, but I don't bash single mothers. I don't fucking bash people. I don't bash whores. I don't put people down. I show men certain things to uplift them so they're not being taken advantage of. I don't teach men to lie, cheat, steal, be dirtbags. None of that shit. But you see, every day I can look at they need to take these podcasts because I'm expressing myself. And I'm teaching men that they should express themselves or educating men about something. They want to literally snip your balls away. Is it supposed to be like that? We got to ask ourselves, fellas, every man watching this need to stop. Stop right now and think. Every man, stop right now. And if this is coming across your fucking news feed, or if this is coming across your TikTok, stop right now and ask yourself, is it supposed to be this way? Is it supposed to be this way that you can't even express yourself to your woman? You can't bring a grievance to your woman about herself. You can't express to your woman that she's done you wrong or she made you feel bad. You can't even express yourself to without it being an argument. Is it supposed to be that way? Right? Is it supposed to be that way? Or have we been fucking emotionally castrated to the point where you can't even address your concern, right? You can't voice your concern to your woman about some shit she did or said to you. Everybody stop and ask themselves that. I think that's a conversation we got to start having. We got to start having that conversation for sure. Now, honestly, I don't think it's supposed to be that way. I believe men have been, I believe we've been engineered, socially engineered, and we've evolved into bottling our emotions up. I don't believe men are supposed to be fucking, just emotionless zombies. I don't believe that. I used to believe that, but guess what I had to do? Growing up my whole life, smoke, drink, and all type of shit. I used to believe that. Stay solid. And you're supposed to stay solid. Don't get it twisted. Never let them see you sweat. And you never let them see you sweat. But, don't let that shit, you be tough. You don't got no emotions. No emotion. Show no emotion. Show no emotion. You ain't got no emotions. You ain't supposed to have emotions. So guess what we got to do? Drink and smoke. Smoke. I ain't never smoked weed, but niggas is smoking themselves stupid. Niggas is drinking themselves to sleep. Not just niggas, all races of men from all around the world. Alcoholism is a problem, and it's more than likely due to a woman. We're going to get on that later, though. We're going to go deep into that. But, I don't think it's supposed to be that way, bro. I don't think it's supposed to be that way. We've evolved to that. We've evolved to bottle up our emotions. We've evolved to, we've been shamed so much to where, you're not a man if you have emotions about something. If you gotta want to express yourself about something, you just, you're not a man. You ain't a real man. A real man is whatever. And now, I do believe that, as a man, your emotions are not supposed to, you're not supposed to make decisions based on your emotions. Shit, as a man or a woman, human beings shouldn't make decisions based on their emotions. Like you should not make emotional decisions. Your decisions should not be based on your emotions. Your emotions should not be a guide for your life and the decisions that you make. Absolutely not. However, I do believe that you, as a man, I do believe that you should not ever suppress your emotions. I don't believe in suppressing your emotions no more, because I know the effects that had on my mental health. I know the effects that it has on, many people's mental health. You understand what I'm saying? Like with my kids, even growing up, like when my kids when they cry, I don't like loud. It's like, go outside or go in the fucking room. Don't disturb everybody, but cry. If you gotta cry. Like, when I was brought up, don't be crying and you better not fucking cry. I'm gonna give you something to cry for. You bottle that shit up. You don't want nobody to see nothing, no emotion but anger. That's the only thing a motherfucker need to see is when you get mad and you show them you'll fuck them up or something like that. But any other emotion, even nowadays, man, if there's a news Instagram clip and it's two men laughing with each other and they give each other a hug and they having fun and they just laughing, it's gonna be women like, no, they gay, he's zesty, all this shit. Like, you can't even be happy around a bitch. You see what I'm saying? Just shaming your emotions away, making you a fucking zombie. And I believe that that's to make you expendable. I believe it's to make you expendable. You see what I'm saying? Women are not raised or socially engineered to care about a man's emotions. That's just the facts. So the question I asked earlier, I want you to think about that. And I want to know what you guys think in the comments too when I ask you guys, do you think that this is how it's supposed to be? I don't believe so. But I believe that women are not raised or socially engineered to care about a man's emotions. Nowhere in society. In the world, really. Men are just supposed to be tough rocks, just deal with it, take it. And a lot of men drink themselves asleep, off themselves because it becomes so much. And I started to realize this when I quit smoking and drinking, and I had to take on this world sober. No drinking, no drinking, no smoking. I don't even fucking drink caffeine no more. No caffeine, no nicotine, no alcohol, no nothing. So I got to get my happiness out the mud, baby. You dig what I'm saying? I got to get my happiness out the mud. You feel me? But when I first quit doing all that shit, cold turkey, by the way. Guys, if you ever drink, if you drink longer than 6, 7, 8, 9 months, if you drink consistently longer than that, if you want to quit, go see a doctor so you can taper. I found out the hard way that you're not supposed to just quit. Because I was drinking heavy. After me and old girl broke up, I started drinking heavy every day. Like maybe 3 months before we broke up, I just started drinking a lot. And it continued to maybe 9 months after we broke up. Then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And I just quit cold turkey. That was a whole nother beast. But so if you've been drinking consistently for longer than 9 months or 6 months or whatever, if you've been drinking consistently for a year or more, then don't quit cold turkey. That shit can kill you. But I quit drinking and I quit smoking, and I was just like, I just want to be the best version of myself, like without crutches. And I've always wanted to be like that, man. But I was, I smoked cigarettes my whole life. I started smoking cigarettes as a teenager. But, I started to say, I want to I don't want to depend on none of this shit. And I finally got the courage to depend on my own arms, man, in 2019. So since then, no caffeine. I wake up. And coffee is a scam, by the way. You don't need that shit. You don't need that shit. Red Bulls and all that shit. I used to drink 2 Red Bulls a day. You don't need that shit. Now sugar. That's my mortal enemy. Sugar. Sugar is crazy. But I even toned back on that. But narcotics. I ain't never been on narcotics, but drugs, which is like alcohol. I'm talking about alcohol, nicotine, shit like that. I quit all that shit, but when I did that, I started to feel every motherfucking thing, and that shit was trippy as fuck. That shit was trippy as fuck. It was that was some trippy shit, bro. And because I've been smoking and drinking since I was a teenager, bro. You see what I'm saying? But I started to realize that we're not supposed to bottle up our emotions, man. That shit making us crazy. That shit is literally making us crazy. And from that, these last few years, which is 2023, This happened in the beginning of 2019. So roughly 4.5 years, I've been on this journey of this emotional intelligence thing, you know, and I'm I'm there pretty much now. Like, I can identify emotions. I know what it is. I know what this feel like. I could identify it in other people. Whereas before, I only knew like anger and fucking happiness. All that other shit, I didn't know. I couldn't even feel it. But now I feel everything. I feel everything. And I can handle everything. You know, sometimes the anxiousness, that shit get a little too much. Like being anxious and shit, you ain't got no cigarette to calm you down. That get a little too much, but you know, I feel everything. I can feel the happiness. I can feel shame, guilt. I can feel love. Like all this shit, bro. All this shit. That's not meant to be bottled up, you know. It's not meant to be bottled up and suppressed, because that fucks with you. That shit is toxic on your body. And that shit, you know. But anyway, I was about to go way left field with that, but not even left field, but, you know, I forgot where I was at, but back to the original point. Women are not raised or socially engineered to care about, you know, a man's emotions. They're just not. They're just not, right? There's no room or feelings or, you know, there's no room for your feelings or emotions in a relationship as a man, you know, and I was in a relationship like that. Not, oh, my mama's sick, or, you know, damn, I'm having a rough day. Not those type of emotions, but I feel wronged by you. I feel like you let me down. I feel like you treating me bad. I feel like I'm not, whatever the case may be, there's no room for that. And most women are raised to and engineered and have evolved to, there's no room for that in this relationship. You're not the one that's supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to bend over and take this wee-wee in your ass. I'm the one that's supposed to have all the problems. You fix the problems. You're not supposed to have no problems. Right? There's no room for it until you make room for it. And the way you make room for it is, hopefully, you have a woman who don't see men as an op, right? And you sit down and you have a conversation and you let her know how serious that is and how serious it is. And I'm going to talk about resentment a little bit later, right? Resentment. I'm going to go in about resentment a little bit later, but this causes resentment. But you let her know how serious this is. And you let her know how this is a boundary of yours. And if you don't have this space, then you guys can't be together. Now, let me give you guys something, right? And I want you to be responsible with this. If you have a woman who's willing to listen to your concerns and you can come to her with a problem, something that you may have done to her, and, you know, she's willing to openly listen and fix it and come to a resolution. If you have a woman like that, don't fuck that up by being a nitpicker, by being a motherfucker who always has an issue, who's every other day, because a woman is going to be resentful of you when she start to feel like, damn, I can't do shit right with this motherfucker. Like, this, do he even like me? You don't ever want a woman in that space. However, you know, if you do have a woman who is open to listen to you and open for you to be vulnerable with me, be vulnerable with me. And when women say, oh, be vulnerable with me, they just want you to be open emotionally so you can deal with their bullshit. Right? If your vulnerability says, hey, you hurt my feelings, they don't want you to be vulnerable. That's just facts. Women don't want you to be vulnerable if it don't serve their feelings. If it's about your day, they want to be vulnerable. They want you to be vulnerable because they nosy and they want to hear what happened at your day. And they just want to, I want to, you know. And let me not be, because I'm starting to be like red pill. This is almost like this red pill shit. Let me throw a little game with that, right? If you're a player, you understand that women want you to be vulnerable. So I sound a little bitter because that shit fucked me up. I ain't gonna even lie. I'm starting to sound like these red pill niggas. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm starting to sound like these red pill dudes. But let me talk about vulnerability because I don't want to throw you guys off the loop. But let's put on our player shit for a minute. We had our red pill shit on. When women say, oh, I want you to be vulnerable, that's a great opportunity. As the players know, that's a great opportunity to build a connection with a woman. So, you know, you can build an emotional connection to where she can feel connected to you, and that is seductive in a way, right? If in not weakness, but when they say, "Oh, I want you to be vulnerable," some of the times they mean like they want to feel the connection to you. Like they're not connected to you. Like they don't feel connected to you. Like you're there, they love you or they like you or whatever, but they don't feel the connection with you. And so a lot of the times vulnerability bridges that gap. So that's the player shit, you know, and if you got some game, you could utilize that to get your woman to fall deeper in love with you. But that's not for this. I can't give you game on that today because I'll be here that'll be a whole nother episode. But that's in the course. How to Get Women to Love, Respect, and Honor You, by the way. So I talk about it in there, and I talk about seduction mastery. But vulnerability, we was talking about, vulnerable. Let's put the red pill hat back on. I'm not red pill, by the way. But a lot of the times, if it doesn't serve their feelings, meaning if your vulnerability is, I don't like the way you treated me, what you said hurt my feelings, they don't want to hear that shit. Right? They don't want to hear that shit. Now, again, if you have a woman who's willing to listen to you, and I forgot to say this earlier, so I'm going to say it again. I'm going to throw this in there. If you have a woman who is willing to listen to you and resolve, you also shouldn't be an emotional wreck. You don't want to be an emotional wreck. Like you always have problems. Everything, you so sensitive. Everything she say bothers you. And because you'll run a woman crazy with that shit. Now now you are problematic, basically. You basically being problematic. But yeah, man. There's no room for your emotions in your relationship until you make room for it. It's standard. The average person, when you meet a woman, the average man, when you meet a woman, y'all meet each other, y'all getting to know each other, y'all fucking get together, right? And y'all say, "Oh, we're gonna make this work." There's at the beginning of that, it's not established. There's literally no room for your emotions. There's literally no room for your emotions in that situation at all until you make room for it. You see what I'm saying? So, men today are prisoners to their woman's feelings and emotions, right? When you can't express yourself to your woman about something that she did, you're basically her slave. If you can't say, "Babe, I don't like the way you did that," that ain't. If you can't do that, you her slave. You living in a prison. You're in a prison in your own home. And what does this lead to? It leads up to bottled emotions, right? It leads up to bottled emotions, which leads up to mental health. I say mental. Mike Tyson, shout out to Mike Tyson. It leads up to bottled emotions, which leads up to mental health issues, which leads up to unproductive and destructive habits and coping mechanisms, drinking, drugs, tricking, gambling, and shit. Because you're trying to get them emotions off. You're trying to get them, suppress them emotions and feel better. You see, so you do unproductive things. You do destructive things to feel better because it's easier. You see what I'm saying? And that's a result of that. I believe the alcohol epidemic amongst men in the world come from dealing with shitty women who, don't care about you, basically. That's what I believe. I believe that. And I just don't want to come to the point of like women don't care about me. I don't want to get there, man. But watching that trend, man, that fuck with me. And I know this episode is kind of like, man, you kind of all over the place. That shit fucking with me, man. Like just even thinking about it is fucking with me. But men are prisoners in their women's to their women's feelings and emotions. You're prisoners, right? Because you can't even express yourself. But if you don't provide your woman with the space to express herself, she gonna fucking cheat on you. How real is that? Y'all want to talk about double standards? Let's talk about a double standard. If you don't provide your woman with the space to express herself, and she can't tell you when you've upset her, and she feels that she'll cry on her pillow, and then the guy at work make her feel good, and she can cheat on you, and she can have a safety net, and everybody will champion it. Everybody will fucking give her a support system. You see what I'm saying? But that ain't the same. You don't have the same privilege. You don't have the same privilege. You know what I'm saying? So it's just shit. It's just shitty. Think about this. Right? Think about this. Think about all your relationships too. And I'm kind of switching gears real quick because I just had a thought. But think about this, you know, and all your relationships. Think back on all your relationships. Just think back, right? And think about, you know, if you was in a long-term situation, you've been in a long-term situation. You ever been in a situation, a long-term situation, and like 6 years later, 7 years later, like you still have the same problem? Like she's still doing the same shit? You know why that is? And I'm not talking about like cheating and shit. If a woman cheat on you, that ain't nothing to talk about. But it's like there may be something that she do that bother you, or something that she say that bother you, or whatever ick it is, or whatever move she do, or whatever it bothers you, a way that she's being affects you. And you ever notice like how it's the same thing even after 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years? You want to know why that is? Because she ain't heard you the first time. She haven't even heard you. Since the 6 months, y'all, after 6 months when y'all was together and y'all first had that issue and you tried to bring it to her, it's 5 years later and she still ain't heard you. You know why she ain't heard you? Because she ain't tried to hear you, because she don't give a fuck. Or she don't want to be accountable that bad that she won't even hear you. She'll do everything in the book, including argue with you for 50 days rather than hear you for 5 minutes and deal with the issue. Like they act like they gonna fucking die or something if they sit down and listen to you say, hey, I don't like the way you hurt my feelings. Like women literally act like they gonna die. Think about that. Women act like they gonna fucking die if you say, hey, the way you said that hurt my feelings. Can we come to a resolve with that? Can we do something about that? Hey, you could have been a little bit nicer to me. Can we fix that? Women act like they will die. A woman would rather argue with you all night than to sit and listen to you. Most women would rather argue with you all night than to sit and listen to you. You know, again, is it supposed to be like that? Is it supposed to be this way? Did God make it like this? Or have men become emotionally castrated? You see what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about how like after all years the same shit still happening. Because she ain't listening to you, bro. She ain't listening to you. Think about this. Think about how, you know, you ever had an argument that lasted all fucking night and you keep trying to bring it back to a point, but it's going all over the fucking place. The shit get flipped. Now you hearing about shit you did 3 months ago and you literally been you've been arguing. Y'all been arguing for a whole week now. It's been tension for a whole week. Now, of course, not a week straight. You got to sleep and shit. But then it's just always go back to it seem like it calmed down. Because it calmed down because, you know, you start to listening to her now, so it's starting to calm down. And then when you bring it back to you, it blow up again. You ever been in some shit like that? And it's be like all week. You know why that is? You know why it take you all night? You know why y'all arguing all night? And just think about it. Ain't it? And I know I've experienced this, and I've coached men that coach hundreds and hundreds of men do the same shit. Just think about it. Ain't it funny that when she come to you about an issue, right? When she come to you about an issue, it don't take all fucking night. It don't take a whole week. Notice, I want you guys to notice this and think about this. The times where your shit, it be all night, all week, a few days. What do it be about? It's more than likely, hey, babe, it's when you bringing her a problem about her, something she did to you. Think about it. You see what I'm saying? Now, what happens is when you're in a situation like this for so long, and again, if you're in a situation like this and you try to communicate that this is a boundary and this is not going, and she's not going for it, you need to get out of that relationship ASAP. Just get out of a relationship ASAP because it's going to damage you. It's going to ruin you as a man. But what happens is, and what I've learned too, and what I've seen in men and coaching men and, you know, friends and all this shit, what I've seen is that, you know, This is how resentment grows. Like this is how you grow to resent a person, right? And all resentment is the definition of resentment is a bitter indignation or annoyance. And indignation is basically being annoyed. A bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. So when you feel like you've been wrong with no justice, or you feel like people have been treating you unfairly, you grow what's called resentment, like being bitter or annoyed at them. You see what I'm saying? And resentment is dangerous, right? Resentment is dangerous. This is why I always do right by people. Like I never fuck people over. I never scam people. I never, give them the short end of the stick. I try to make sure, if I'm doing business with a person, I'm not the person that's like trying to get every dollar. I try to make sure everybody's straight in the deal. As long as I eat, as long as you eat, we good. We good. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't want people to be resentful of me, because that's a very dangerous thing. When somebody resents you, and for all my guys that can relate to this, that can feel me where I'm coming from, have you not felt this with your partner? Think about that. Or with the woman that you was with, your ex or whatever. Right? But this is why I don't wallow in my mistakes. Like if I do something wrong, like seriously wrong to somebody, I'll apologize for it. Or if I don't feel like, let's say if I did something and I meant to do what I did, I won't apologize, but I give them clarity as to why that happened. You understand what I'm saying? And if I need to make it right, if I wronged them, I will make it right, because I don't want people harboring resentment. So you can't help if a person is envious of you or if they're hateful of you, but you can help if you can control if a person resents you or not. And resent is just as strong as envy and jealousy. Resent. So I don't really wallow in my mistakes, because when I mean wallow in my mistakes, like if I make a mistake, and that's not just with relationships, even like this type of shit, like with what I do now, like I don't appear to be perfect. If you guys have seen me coach people. If I was wrong, I'd be like, oh, my bad, dog. Or, I apologize to people or whatever. Like, or if I make a mistake, I say, I fucked up here. I made a mistake here. When you don't do that, people get resentful of you. And when someone is resentful of you, they want to see you lose. They start to want to see you lose at everything around you. And some of them will even partake in seeing you lose, right? They delight in your misfortunes. Like even your own woman. Like if your woman ever start to resent you, she's not going to be happy for you when you win. She's going to be happy when you lose. Every time something happens to you, she's going to relish in that. And she's not going to show it. Of course she's not going to show it. But she's going to delight in the little L's you take or the big L's you take. Because it's like, I told you so. It's like I told you so thing. That's what you get. That's like a justice for them. This is real shit. Don't play with this, bro. Don't play with this. But you don't want to get to a space where, you start to resent a person, your woman or your ex. You don't want to get to that place, bro, because once resentment set in, it's just like, it's crazy. But again, when someone is resentful of you, that's what happens. When people resent you, they want to see you lose. They want to see you down in the dirt. It's like, yes, it's their revenge. And sometimes people will partake in your undoing, basically. Look at men today, right? Look at men today. Look at the red pill community. Just look at the red pill community. Look at all this shit, all this red pill community, all this whole culture online of like relishing in women's misery, laughing at single mothers and I don't want to say shaming, but throwing dirt at single mothers and women who crying and women who fucking have been on OnlyFans and realize, damn, I fucked up, or women who was whores like, damn, I fucked up, or women who take L's, or women who get beat up, or women who get did wrong by the dirtbag dude. There's a whole sea of men relishing in that. They're delighting in that, in a woman's misery. The content creators make videos about it, and you can see it. There's a whole genre of that. guys doing reaction videos to women suffering, whatever, not like, dying or no shit like that, but women literally suffering, and they delight in that. Do you know where that comes from? That comes from resentment. They resent women because they feel like women haven't been treating them poorly. Treating them fairly. They feel like they haven't been given a fair shake at women all their lives, and so they grow resentment. If you notice, like, I don't do that because I'm not resentful towards women. I don't roast single mothers, and I don't roast this or roast that. I put the game out there so you can learn from. But I don't do videos like mocking, like, look at this bitch, ha 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 ha, and that's what single mothers get and all that shit. I don't do that. I'm not happy. Like, it doesn't make me happy to see a woman taking no L. That don't make me happy. That don't excite me. You see what I'm saying? That don't excite me at all. Not that I'm like, I hope, I ain't never been no simp or no shit like that, but I just don't delight in that. Like, a lot of the shit y'all be sending me with women is like, women be taking these L's or women be looking stupid or whatever the fuck the case may be. I don't have the desire to talk about it. Like, I just don't have the desire to talk about it because it does nothing for me. I'm not in that position to where, I'm resentful of women and I just want to see them take a L. Like, I don't delight in people's L's, period. Because I don't really, there's not many people in this world that I resent. There's a few people that I'm resentful of, there's been some resentment built up. There's a few people, but, overall, generally, like, I don't delight in seeing people suffer, women included. It'd be a chick that's like crying in the car, and it's just like, oh, I've had a bad life, and guys have been fucking me over. A lot of people be like, aha, that's what you get, bitch. Aha, that's resentment. That's resentment. So whenever you see a content creator delighting in a woman's suffering or delighting in anyone's suffering, that person is bitter and resentful because they've been taking L's. And I say that to say, the motherfuckers ain't got no game. They ain't who they say they are. They ain't who they claim they used to be, meaning they grew up and they ain't the players that they used to be, because players have their way with women. Guys who are players, who have been players, they have their way with women. So they're not resentful of them. When you see these guys who claim to be, got all this sauce and dating coaches and shit, but they delight in people suffering, they delight in women suffering, that's just a telltale sign that they didn't have their way with women in their life. And they're resentful. This is why that makes them happy. This is why they're doing the content, because it makes them happy. So always, remember that. But that's that with that one, man. Just that fucking, that trend just did something to me, man. It did something to me. That was one that really, really bothered me. That one fucked with me. It ain't too many things that, now I see a lot of content that fire me up, and I'm gonna do a podcast about that. But it ain't too many things that I see in regards to the relationship and dating space and content that I see that bothers me and damn near hurt me, like, and make me sad. That was one of them, and that's why I brought you this episode today. But that ends that, guys. Remember, KingDre.shop. Go pre-order the t-shirts. When you listen, pre-order it now, because by the time you hear it, you probably ain't gonna be able to get it no more. So that's how exclusive the motherfucker's gonna be. And also, guys, 3 secrets to make a woman fall in love with you, respect, and honor you. Go to loverespecthonor.com or click the link in the bio, the description, the chat, wherever you see this at. Go click that link and sign up. But anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys next Friday for the podcast. Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live stream on YouTube. I will see you guys soon. It's none other than your gracious game advisor, yours truly, King Dre. I'm gone.